it safe so they can be played on another day. Rob's Arcade.
Oh, wow, I just noticed I have like a little foyer in there actually. There's not like it just I thought that like went right out the front, but there's like a little foyer there. Anyway, welcome back to Rob's Arcade. I am your host, Mr. Rob French, and this is another episode, I guess, of our Rob's Arcade show, the Monday show, Monday Motivation, however you wanna look at it. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out. Hope you guys have been enjoying your day so far, and hope you guys all had a really great weekend. It's insane to think that here we are, November 17th. Just had to double check, make sure. Because I can't believe it's already the 17th. That's insane. We're already more than halfway through the month. It felt like October blinked by, and now the same has been true for November as well. But it's been a good month so far. I've had some really cool experiences and things going on at work. I've been trying to put together a new program avenue for those who are maybe uh, wheelchair bound, or even those who aren't, who might be interested in sports like wheelchair basketball. I had a gentleman who just recently popped in and was looking for some programming and stuff that he could participate in. He just lost his leg. Has a really cool prosthetic, and I'm kind of jumping into some deep stuff right away. But this is just a really cool thing that I've gotten to take a part in, and it's kind of all culminated over this past month. I think it started in late October, first meeting with this gentleman, and just after a few conversations, I think there's an avenue for us to put together some programming for other individuals, who also might be maybe have a prosthetic, or like I said, just might be wheelchair bound, or even those in our community who already participate at other programs that we offer and want to take a stab at this as well. So I've got some dates to meet with a local, um, uh, I guess it's like another community organization here that facilitates and helps out with different sports activities along those lines. So we're going to meet up, hopefully here the next week or so, and actually iron out some of this and what this looks like. So November's been a really cool month for me. I've just gotten a lot of cool feedback and just positive accolades, and been able to do and be a part of some really cool things. Even over this past weekend, we had a swim meet that I was able to help out with, even though I got a little frustrated, but I'll jump into some of that a little bit later. But it's just really cool to get a chance to do some of these things and be part of some of this stuff, and I just really, really do enjoy it. But hopefully your month has been well, and your weekend was, a good one. Again, my weekend was pretty awesome. Actually, it was really awesome. Had a lot of fun. A much needed weekend for so many reasons. Just was able to connect with an old lady friend from high school and spend some time with her. Not too much. It was just the right amount of time. It was perfect. And I just really needed a lot of it in a lot of different levels. I don't really do much, speaking of work. It's kind of like my get down, if you will. I think she'll even attest that it's pretty evident. She got a chance to actually see me in my element at work, and that's where I vibe, man. That's where I thrive. That's where I do my best stuff, and I really enjoy it. But that's really what I've got. It's like that's my thing. Like I have work, and I come home, and that's really all I do. So it was really nice to get a chance to spend some time with her and just enjoy some movies and TV and some dinner with company, and You know, I mean, you guys were even just like ran across the street to the local store, just grabbed a few things and some candy and snacks, and just had a good time, just goofing off. Was really enjoyable. That personal connection that everybody needs, that recharge, if you will. But then also just kind of helping me figure some things out. Sometimes I talk about these excuse me, I talk about these Monday motivations and excuse me, what it means to keep going and put your best foot forward. But sometimes you have to take a little time for yourself, and I try to do that as much as I can. I have so many hobbies and so many things that I do, whether it's read comics or play video games or whatever that might look like. But sometimes I don't give myself a chance to kind of unplug from that, um, almost like I guess that work mentality, if you will. And it's something that, like, I don't know. I worked through a lot of it, like I said, this past weekend, and it took my lady friend to kind of help me with it. But it really it's so much of it is, oh gosh, like this. I hate to do it, but it is like the comic book. But you can't help it. You spend 10, 20, 30 years of your life reading these books and getting these values, and like you kind of do, like, as you're doing these things, like you're helping, again, people who might have just lost an arm or a leg in an accident, or you're helping kids, or you're making people's lives better. It is very much like a role that you can kind of consider yourself like an Avenger or an X-Man or Spider-Man, and you're like doing good work and putting yourself out there to make sure others are thriving, basically. And that's it's commendable. And it's almost like, yeah, you have a uniform and you're all on the same team. You're an X-Man. It's just like just which you all work together to make everybody's lives out there better. And you get home, and sometimes it's hard to kind of shake that off. And it's just it was one of those things, like, oh my gosh, it's so obvious, and yet how did I not see this kind of a thing? Literally taking myself and having to actually look at some of these books that I read, and then sitting back and watching Superman and looking at these things and going, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I do." I come home and I can't shake off the super suit. You know, I get home and I expect everybody to live up to the same standards that the people that I spend my day with doing, but we work on a standard that's you know, like to improve lives and make lives better. And of course, there's standards and rules and things. We have to do it this way and that way. But when you get home and when you're talking with your friends and your family, it's like you can shake that off and leave it there. And it literally took a mini therapy session on Saturday evening, and then just kicking back and watching the first, I don't know, 15 minutes or so of the new Superman movie for me to go, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I do. I guess it's like that superhero complex, or, a Superman or Spider-Man complex, if you will. But I guess that's exactly what it is. You're so used to seeing things in these books laid out in a certain way, and this is right, and this is just, and this is the right way, and this is the wrong way, and this is how you do it, and if you don't do it this way, excuse me, if you don't do it this way, there's consequences, blah 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 blah, and this is why we do it this way, and this is why we don't, and like it's like not everything is messing with the time continuum, dude, and not everything is a war you're going to stop. But it was crazy. I think we both looked at each other in that one scene where Superman a couple of times was like, but people were going to die, and then it was people were going to die, and it was like, oh my God, like I'm getting a little bit of chills now, but it was like that intensity and that seriousness is something that, gosh, like I feel like I apply to so many things and situations in my life. And it's like, yes, sometimes it's important. You have to get this in. It's important. We have to do this now, but not everything is is that important. And just taking those 10 minutes, I think Superman goes to the Fortress of Solitude for a reason, right? Like that time to disconnect and to break away and just have a few minutes to himself. But yeah, it was so funny. It was like there were so many of these pieces and advice and things that, like I said, I was working through with my lady friend, and then sitting back and watching this movie and going, "Gosh, there's more to these books than just goofy stories about interdimensional gamma rays and cosmic radiation." But it's interesting too. Like over the last couple of weeks or so, I've discovered a new podcast, the Marvel Method, hosted by Method Man, and it's great. It's really fun. Method Man is a huge comic head. Not only like one of my favorite rap artists, him and Redman, I think, are two of my favorite like top five individuals of all time. But they together have done some really cool things with like Kevin Smith, and um, it's evident that there's a lot of you know comic book culture within hip hop, but Method Man, he's a serious head, man. Like he knows all of the stuff. He's legit, and just hearing his podcast is really cool. Just hearing exactly how well versed he is in all of this stuff, it's just really amazing. But then he interviews some really fun people, some really cool comedians and rap artists and just fellow entertainers. Kevin Smith is on one. But I've been really enjoying it, and it's been a cool um, kind of like colliding or melding, if you will, of these two things. Where like as I'm getting older and realizing like not only is this stuff now more mainstream and it's like slipping into every facet of our life, but that there um, are other fans out there like my age, some famous, some not, but it's starting to. Well, I had to excuse me, fix my glasses here a little bit. Um, like the validity of it is like really like surprising, and then like not only how um the you know it's like how do I want to put this um how it's becoming, I guess, more like visible in our it's become more visible in our culture, in our lives, TV, movies, magazine, all this stuff, right? But also like I just feel like it's more visible in my own life, like these books and these stories and the people that I've always looked up to, like Kevin Smith and Method Man, and like as I get older, I'm just like more and more impressed, like how deep their love for comics runs, like mine does, and how much alike we really are. It's like, oh man, like you start to see like, oh man, I think if me and Method Man hung out, I think after I got past the overall like, whoa, I'm hanging out with Method Man, him and I could sit back and just talk about X-Men and all these things, and so hearing him share stories and how these characters have helped him in his life and shape his life, and now looking at certain situations too, and it's like, man, like I always talk about like, yeah, how could I not be a comic book fan because like of how long I've been into comics, but how could they not shape some of my overall personality too? And I think it's interesting for me to sit back and tell people like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, and be motivated and be a better person and be this and be that. But it's again, it's easy. I think it's like embedded in my DNA. Um, those characters like Punisher or Spider-Man, Batman, any of them, even Ash from the Army of Darkness. It's like these characters that I grew up watching and their stories and reading and watching over and over again. It's like no matter what life throws at you, you just keep going. It's like, oh, you lose a hand, you throw a chainsaw on it. You get shot, you get back up. You break an arm, you go get a cyborg cast put on it and keep slinging through the city trying to save the day. So there's always that just keep going kind of mentality. And it's so easy again for me to sit back and go, oh yeah, just keep going, just do this, do that. But again, like it's because you have all of these stories and this influence throughout your whole life. And so I think it's also important too to sit back and go, not everybody spent their whole life, reading comics and has the same, overall mentality that I do. Um, And that was something too with like, is working with teens and trying to figure that out. Like, okay, yeah, it's easier for me to say like, oh, just jump in and just try it. But, not everybody's been through or read or done or seen all the same things that everybody else has seen. And I think there's room to, which is something that I've always believed, but I think I have to try to remind myself that, you just have to make room for where other people are at, where they are, it's that meet people where they're at mentality that I've always tried to have when it comes to like relationships and everything else. Um, but I've always applied it to more, like broad relationships or, friendships or girlfriend type relationships or something like that where it's like, you try to meet that person where they're at and be there for them. But, I think that needs to take place on just like a day-to-day situational standby. It's not so much like just meeting a person where they're at, um, relationship wise so that you guys can be together, but also just meeting them where they're at on a day-to-day basis and making sure that, you know, their needs are met, um, and nothing's really being overlooked, regardless of what your days look like or what work has been like or any of those things. I hope that kind of makes some sense. I'm trying to make it as simple yet poetic as possible, but like I said, I think sometimes um, I get I get kind of wrapped up in my own go get 'em Monday motivation kind of attitude, and forget to kind of just put that on the back burner. I can't put it on the back burner for a little bit, but I can't get over too how much this hoodie looks like the one I'm wearing now. It's like my Blue Ridge hoodie, and it's like the lining, the strings, the color, the print. Of course, is different, but like the placement, the color of the print, everything. It's like it's very even the sleeve. I mean, it's very eerie. I'm not wearing the same jeans, but looking at this character and looking at me right now, it's like, oh, this is creepy. I kind of put it on for that reason, but the more I look at it, the more it's like, oh man, that's pretty wild, man, pretty wild. Um, but yeah, so it was just a good weekend in general, and then like I said, just got a chance to kind of hang out, um, you know, read some comics, uh, help out at so we had a swim meet at work, which is pretty cool. Went really late, and I feel so bad. That's kind of what I think would snowball this whole thing. It's like, I volunteer to help out and do all these things, and go 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 go, and then I get home and it's like I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to unplug. And then two, like you can't lie. Like Saturday was bonkers. Like the fact that one, I don't know what happened, but apparently I don't know. I felt like it. I got out later than I did on this one. And the first one we finished later. It's like we finished like 30 minutes earlier on this one. And so for some reason, I guess I just thought like, okay, well, we'll be out in no time. And it turned out to be a much later evening. And then, of course, I got my lady friend with me, and we're looking to get out of there and just try to start our evening so we can enjoy it. And it just kept going and going. And then I felt bad because it looked like they were having some problems, like wrapping everything up. Like everybody had left, all the kids were gone, all the parents were gone. And I guess it was just a matter of like maybe putting times and data and that kind of stuff in. And I get, they were having a hard time. And I felt so bad because at one point I was just like checking, like, hey, how much longer do we have? And I felt like then I was rushing them to, oh, it was awful. But then on top of that, like my eyes started to twitch a little bit. So then on top of that, I'm just even thinking about, I was like, all right, now what do we want to do to eat? And I found myself getting like so frustrated and even like trying to figure out like, okay, what do I want to do for dinner? And bless her heart, my lady friend suggested, some sandwiches. I was like, perfect. Let's go. We'll go grab some subs. And I have to mention the name simply because it only helps with the story in the fact of um, the order there. Because I think it's the most simple order, and I don't know how many times I had to say it, but I went in and just ordered a sandwich we could share, and it was the, original Italian. Well, I guess I don't have to say where. I guess if I say the order, you can kind of guess where it was. But I got the original Italian, Mike's Way, and I think I got like a regular because it's a pretty good sized sandwich, and there was like plenty of snacks and stuff at the house too. So it was like we just need like a little something, and it was like perfect, like a little half sandwich and some chips, and it'd be perfect. And we went in, and instead of even ordering it as the name, I ordered the number because the number is what they know. They know the numbers. And I felt so bad. The guy in front of me was ordering I think it was like he kept saying he wanted a steak and cheese, a number 16, if I'm not mistaken. But that was actually the chicken. And they were having trouble with him, and they were like, he was like, yeah, I want a 16 steak and cheese. And they were like, you mean a 17? And he was like, well, the steak and cheese. And he was like, well, like, you want chicken? And they were like, he was like, no, I want like the steak and cheese, the number 16. And I'm looking too, I'm like, the 16 says chicken steak, bro. Like the 17, whatever. So anyway, he couldn't get it right. So I was like, I'm going to be perfect. I'm just going to go, look, I want a regular 13 on white bread. And then when I get to the lady, I'll let them know that I want it Mike's way. So then young kids like, you want it 13 regular with extra cheese. What else? And I'm like, what? Nah, man, a regular 13 on white bread, no extra cheese. And he was like, extra cheese? He's like, no extra cheese. It's like, oh, and it's like, what else? It's like, that's it. He's like, nothing else. And he's like, looking at her like, dude, look, we're going to split this sandwich, okay? You're going to cut it in half, and we're going to split it. Yeah, okay? And so then there's like three people behind the counter. Then the next person asked us the same thing, like, what are you getting? And so then I said it again, a 13 regular Mike's Way. And it turned into another number, turkey. I think they wanted a turkey. And I said, no, not turkey, a 13, a 13. And they're like, oh, 13. And bless her heart, she's over there like doing sign language, like 1-3, 1-3, which I thought was a little much, but hilarious. Like I would have felt bad if I was on the other side of the counter. She's over here like 1-3, 1-3. Do you get it? 13, not turkey. 13, Mike's Way. Then, what was ironic is the lady who was like right next to her heard the order, and then also continued. Like I think it was like 8 times, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, right? That we had to um, repeat this order. It was crazy. And I guess I don't know. So like by the time we got out of there, I I don't know. I felt like I was done. I was just like, I probably at that point needed to just shut down for the day, maybe. But then I don't know. I think that's where it kind of like um, started to spiral. And it's just like I got home and it's just like, what was that like? Like the swim meet finishes 30 minutes early, but we're there an hour longer, and like, oh yeah, something as simple as just go getting a sandwich turned into like directing traffic, trying to land a jet plane or something. It was hilarious. Pull up, 13, 13. Do you read me? Do you read me over? Oh man, but in a sense, like nothing, nothing is by chance. Nothing is just by coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason. I think maybe that needed to happen. Maybe it did. Maybe it just all needed to happen that way. And as unfortunate as it might have been for all of those around me, it just ultimately needed to happen. I think we all have our moments, and there's nothing wrong with that. The most important piece, though, I think, is if we do, as I've been told numerous times over the weekend, that possibly communication is the best piece in all of that. Letting people know. And sometimes it's like you don't really know. Like I didn't even know this weekend like what was going on or what I needed or anything like that. But maybe that's important too. letting that piece be known. It's so funny. Sometimes I throw this advice out there, and sometimes forget to take my own. I guess maybe I should go back and watch some of these videos as well. I'm always telling you guys to make sure you share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But maybe it wouldn't hurt myself to go back and do a little bit of the same. Well, it's about to wrap up here on another Rob's Arcade. Um, so looks like it's still nighttime out there. Maybe a good time to go back to sleep, take a nap. That's always good too. Another great piece of advice from my friend there. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your November. Make sure you like, make sure you share, subscribe. I'm going to do the same. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Don't spend that quarter anywhere else. Peace out.